Hey everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we bet on all the sports of sports, but not really the sports part of the sport, kind of the other parts of the sports. I'm your host, Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host, Austin Huff.
Well, especially this week where there are no sports. Even the main sport that everyone is ready to watch is kind of sporting, but not really sporting. And so they're going to try and sell it as sports, but it won't be sports.
Yeah, I don't even know what the Pro Bowl is anymore, what is going on with it. Anytime you hear anyone asked about it, it's a combination of guys who are sad they didn't make the Super Bowl and players going...
Yeah. The Pro Bowl now is like it feels like I'm trying to come up with an analogy like where it's like, oh, this is like it's gonna be gone soon, and we're just like trying to keep it alive.
I don't mean to keep talking about Hugh Hefner week after week, but
hey folks,
it feels like a bygone era. I tried doing that Hugh Hefner riff from last week at a stand-up show in Manhattan Beach, and turns out you can't do jokes in front of the people's friends.
It's what the Pro Bowl is now is what like newspapers are now. It's like we all know what the end game is here, so why don't we just go ahead
The
and
only
call
reason you even pay attention to it is if your guy is on the front, and that's a nostalgic thing.
Right.
Eventually, people will be like, look at like it. You see Harry Truman holding up a sign that says Alex Smith wins dodgeball. That is the first. Alex Smith was the Pro Bowl quarterback when they really did the big pivot, and people weren't ready for how good he was at dodgeball, but it made perfect sense. He's literally really good at throwing 8 yards at your knees. And that was like, this is the most accurate 8-yard quarterback in the history of the NFL. He checked down to everyone's shins and just mowed people over in dodgeball.
Well, what's funny is like the NBA will just throw anything and everything at the wall and see what sticks. And their All-Star weekend remains pretty good, pretty decent.
Every few years there's another like this dunk contest ruled. And I think that they're opening up this 3-point contest a little bit, which will be fun. And
like the new rules that they unveiled in the actual game, like it just feels like more
making
of
the
an
players
event, more
pick their favorites is hilarious.
But then the NFL is like, oh hey, here, watch your favorite NFL players participate in a PE class. Like that's not.
They're not. I like that they're like, look, our sport's not dangerous, but you are not allowed to play it casually. Our sport's super safe. Do not ever do it if it's not for us.
And what's funny to me is like, why did look, and I understand why the players opt out of the Pro Bowl. They don't want to risk injury. But you've got 9 months till the season kicks back off. And I just feel like it's weird that like in a day and age where science and medicine are at all-time highs that we've ever seen them in the history of civilization, that players are like, yeah, I don't want to get hurt. Whereas 20 years ago, when medicine was not near as good, you had Sean Taylor decapitating punters on the field.
And how'd that work out for him long term?
Well, yeah, sure.
Jackson Mahomes is dancing on his grave. Oh man, oh boy, that was a real situation. I didn't know it was a guy's memorial. I just thought it was a man with a halo around his head laying. To be fair, if you're in Washington football team stadium, it all feels like one big grave.
Oh my gosh. And now it's like where coaches go to die. They just hired Dan Quinn as their new head coach. And it's like,
I like that they were like, get me Dan Cambish.
They're like, give me a guy who has not had any success as as a head coach anywhere. But had mediocre success as the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
I need a guy who can beat the Cowboys, gets like a coach of theirs that enacts their collapse. It's such an interesting way to beat the Cowboys, to be like, they generally implode from within. So if we pick up their coach, we can beat them. Because it's like if the 49ers signed Kadarius Toney to beat the Chiefs. They're
Right,
like, who
right.
who is the downfall of the Chiefs? Well,
Yeah.
the call's coming from within the house.
Now the Commanders just need to go out and get Dak Prescott as their quarterback.
Right. At least as their time management consultant. I am just like it's yeah, I think the Pro Bowl is dumb. I would love to like sort of come up maybe what do we think like is better ideas for the Pro Bowl because they're not going to let them play football. I
Yeah,
think dodgeball's I would love to watch them play basketball, honestly.
the
All of these
flag
guys
football is like the next closest thing. Like I
yeah.
watched a little bit of last year's game, and I was the one, and it was
I saw
it
they gave
it
you a shout out like they were asking you to smash that like button and it was
yeah.
ESPN. I thought it was a little bit on the
It was one of
nose.
those things where it's like tweet with this hashtag and your tweet could be featured. And then it was just like my entire timeline was on on TV
Hmm.
because I was the only one tweeting.
You know,
Um
I the first ever when the Chargers game was at the soccer stadium
yeah,
before
oh
they
yeah.
were the Chargers Chiefs were at the soccer stadium, they had their screen and they were like tweet, but it was clearly I could see that a robot was sifting them. It was not like a social media person. So I
Yeah.
tweeted my tummy hurts with the hashtag and they kept showing it. They kept just showing me. It said Kyler's "My tummy hurts" up on their giant screen. Like they only had like 20 tweets to sift through. So it's like every time Kareem Hunt had another 8 yard run in that game, "My tummy hurts" went flying up on the screen.
Well, it's look, if there's anyone that understands random tweets, it's at Chargers. It's
Yeah,
the LA Chargers.
yeah. I bet their current social media person wasn't even alive then. That was like 6 years ago. Well,
Oh
I'm
my
excited
gosh.
to
Yeah.
watch them explain what Naruto is to John Harbaugh.
Yeah, yeah, right, right, right.
I think that'll be a
J-
fun moment in Chargers history.
Although I look, if Jim Harbaugh knows anything, it's how to relate to young people. Because wasn't he the head coach? There is some construction going on in my house right now, which I don't know if you can hear the
No,
hammering. If
you're all right.
okay, if you can, just just
It's
ignore it.
John
Just
Harbaugh. It's Pool. It's what's his name? The Pool, the GM of the Bears, doing a facelift on the team.
yeah, right, right. The Jim Harbaugh wasn't he at one point when he was, I believe, when he was at Michigan, he famously spent the night at a recruit's house.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Imagine
I
like
don't.
It's John, right? Which Harbaugh is it? John.
Jim is the Michigan man turned LA
Okay, Jim.
Charger.
John is the Ravens
John
coach.
is the Ravens head coach.
I imagine Jim Harbaugh like, well, I got to recruit this guy, so time to grind out a Fortnite skin before the season pass expires.
Like, I don't know. Like, if I was a recruit and like a potential head coach came to my house for an in-home visit, I would be like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is great." But then he just never left,
Right?
and then like not only that, but rolled out a sleeping bag.
Is 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 Jim Harbaugh in footy pajamas in the living room?
Like I know the dude likes milk, but
Imagine then you like say no.
yeah, yeah, right, right. If he spent the night at his house and he's still like, yeah, no, I've committed to University of Ohio Bobcats.
I'm going to the Ohio,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a Ohio University.
I'm just going anywhere not
Yeah.
Michigan. That is it's
I,
weird,
I,
coach.
if we're getting into like Pro Bowl alternative ideas, because tug of war honestly doesn't interest me either. These guys do have massive egos, and once it comes down to it, they really do want to win.
Hmm.
Position swapping. I think every play flag football, but every play you draw your position out of a hat is
Yeah,
something that I could get into, or just no quarterbacks, linemen only. I would watch a lineman
yeah,
only flag football game, and then a wide receiver only tug of war.
yeah. Yeah, and last year they tried that event where it was like the instead of the dunk contest, it was basically like a most impressive catch contest,
Yeah,
which in theory sounds awesome, but then again, so does that idea sounds awesome every time we try it, like at our local swimming pool,
right,
and
right,
just
right.
no one ever comes up with the catch.
No, and then there's just a lot of downtime.
Yeah, yeah, you're
I'm just
like
trying to picture like Odell Beckham making a catch over a Kia, or over a mascot or something.
right, right, right.
I just think I don't know. I don't think there's anything it would be more interesting to watch them play Mario Kart than anything else. Like for them to
Yeah.
get competitive about psycho stuff would be more interesting to me than really any of the stuff. Even flag football, it I don't no one I don't really watch the NBA All-Star game. The dunk contest can be made into a reel at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just don't think it's the same with the isn't the awards ceremony is this weekend, and that's so insulting. Hey
Yeah.
Lamar, we know you're free. So come pick up your trophy. It's like when they gave Dirk that trophy after he was the 1 seed and got knocked out by the Warriors, and then he had to go get his MVP trophy. Give
Yeah.
it to him
Right.
after the regular season before the playoffs, or wait until the whole season is over.
Yeah, and like if the NFL is good at anything, it's dragging things out. Like
Oh, dude,
why they try and squeeze everything within this week in
right.
between the Super Bowl? Honestly, I think we should go back to having 1 week before the Super Bowl. I don't know why we need the 2 week build up. It's and moving the Pro Bowl in this week in between. I mean, it's
I know.
better
Why not
than
grab March?
yeah, right. Like
The
why
sides
not?
of March. That's what they could call the Pro Bowl.
The sides of March.
I don't
That's
know. It is wild. I don't know if I'll watch really any of it. I bet I'll end up seeing like Jason Kelsey like play quarterback for a play or something.
That's what they need to bring back is the old quarterback challenge. Do you remember those things that used to like
I
air on
do
like
because
Saturday afternoons on
who
ESPN2?
I'm pretty sure that DeAndre Hopkins beat Lamar Jackson at the quarterback accuracy challenge 1 year.
Yeah, like when it was always like, and I just saw a clip today of like Steve McNair competing in one, like that. Why they don't like bring that back where it's like just
Because
the
egos. I
quarterbacks?
really think it's egos. I think these guys don't want to lose I think that was probably very embarrassing for Lamar Jackson to lose to wide receivers at the quarterback competition. But
Well,
to be fair, DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't have thrown into triple coverage when a backup tight end threw his hand up like he was open.
that was an insane play. That was an insane decision. That was look for likely to throw his hand up. All the confidence in the world. Look,
Dude,
I actually respect.
that is
I
male
respect the
confidence if I've
confidence.
ever seen it in my entire life. He's like, I'm open, and you're like, legitimately, everyone else is.
That is every kid on the recess playground thinking they're open, and then the one guy who has the ball looking for someone who's open, knowing they're not, and then being like,
Yeah,
"Dude, why did you throw it to me? I was open." and then like they'll point out the fact that they were open after the ball was released because everyone ran to the ball. Like,
yeah,
dude, there's no one around me. Let's say, yeah, it's because everyone ran to the ball, you idiot.
right. It
Sorry,
was
I've got a lot of
the
pent up
second that
frustration
the
from.
second that that throw went up. I mean, everyone just even I was watching the game at a bar. There's a Ravens fan next to me who's just like, while the ball's in the air, said, "What?"
Yeah,
Because it was such it's very rare that if one guy doesn't intercept it, a couple other guys will instead.
yeah,
This happens to the Chiefs every once in a while because they have really good defensive backs and pretty good safeties.
yeah.
But it was so bad. I like
He
Lamar Jackson and I like the Ravens, and I wasn't obviously wasn't rooting for them because I was rooting for the Chiefs. But you're just like, oh come on, man! Like
he should have thrown it given it like 5 seconds of hang time, and then it would have been like a punt, and then likely could have fair caught it because that's what it
he
felt like.
he
There
was
were
more
so many
open
guys
when he
around
threw
him.
to himself, which gave me some PTSD. It's crazy
Yeah.
to be at a bar and watching the game with people, and a quarterback completes it to himself, and I'm like, oh, we've
Mhm.
actually lost twice because of
And
this.
that could have also gone for a touchdown
Oh,
had
if Drew Tranquil
Lamar
doesn't
not got
catch
tripped
him,
up.
if Drew
Yeah.
Tranquil doesn't, this is like Drew Tranquil is very quick, not very fast, but like if he doesn't make that tackle, that's at least he's getting chased down at like the 10
Yeah.
by if Snead can catch him or something. We don't have
Right. Right.
remarkably fast guys.
Yeah.
It was so much field space. And I was just like, oh, no, no. That's actually the third best quarterback pass to himself against the Chiefs in the playoffs in the past 10 years. The other ones go for touchdowns generally to
Yeah.
go ahead.
Right.
Um, that was things happen sometimes in games where you're like, maybe the football gods aren't here for us today. And
Yeah.
that felt like that.
Yeah. Right. No, I know that feeling. It's every Sunday for me.
Except that pass. Except that Marcus Mariota to
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, or when they called
I wish
forward
I could go
progress on
back to that.
Marcus Mariota when he was getting tackled.
That was before the Mike Vrabel era. Like, I wish I could go back to that time and be like, man, there's so much
I need to tell you
good
guys.
football ahead of you before a lot of bad football hits
Yeah,
you.
that was the Mike Vrabel playing football era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was just catching touchdown passes for the
Right,
Patriots.
right.
Man, what it was the games were both this interesting thing happened in the games this week where both teams that won kind of also put a blueprint out there on how to lose.
Yeah,
Like the Chiefs, you can just watch the first half of that Lions 49ers game and be like, okay, this is what works. And the
yeah.
49ers can kind of watch the second half. At least, I mean, the Chiefs defense was playing out of their minds in that
Yeah,
game,
Chiefs defense was insane. And that's kind of like what I was going to say was like the blueprint to beat the Chiefs this year is like score 20 points, which is
unless you're the Bills.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, right, right,
The
right.
Bills are the only team to score over 20 and not beat the Chiefs this year.
Yeah,
I
right,
saw that the
right.
Chiefs in the last 10 weeks, the Chiefs are giving up 4 points per game in the second half.
Who's that? Oh, the
The
Chiefs in the
Chiefs as
second
a
half. Yeah,
team
yeah,
are
yeah.
giving up four. And
That's the
then
thing.
this is one of the bigger gripes I have with awards in general, because they're also going to be giving out the coaching awards this weekend, is
Mm.
that if you're good at it, you can't win twice. Andy Reid's only won Coach of the Year one time, and that was 2002.
There's a rule like that, like where you
I mean,
can't
it's
win
not
it.
a rule, but like you're telling me Spagnuolo wasn't even a top five defensive coordinator in the voting this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, well, really? This isn't a top five? Like, look at what he's doing.
Yeah. It's usually like the newer
It's
faces
just the
that
newest person, you know what I mean? The
yeah.
newest or the overachieving or something like
Yeah.
that. But I would say this Andy Reid wasn't even a top five coach of the year candidate. And you're just like, well, he was missing a whole position all year.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's a specific gripe, and I don't think Andy Reid cares that much. It's sort of like the guys who don't make the Pro Bowl, but they make All Pro, that sort of thing,
right,
because it's
right.
like a popularity type of thing.
Which, and speaking of the Pro Bowl, I feel like when are we like as a society just going to start to like realize like, hey, let's stop listing Pro Bowl as accolades? Because like
Right.
the fact that like Gardner Minshew gets a Pro Bowl invite this year, don't get me wrong, had a great year, but like he had a great year for Gardner Minshew standards. Like,
Yeah, it's also eight guys make it at every position because of the opt-outs.
yeah, right.
It's
Like
like
I'm like
making the
we need to
NBA playoffs is on your resume, and you're like, well, I think most people do.
right. If there's a if you're down to the eighth girl that you have to ask out to prom,
Mhm.
I'm pretty
You
sure
can't,
that girl is not like should not feel
and you can't put
like a
got a prom date on your resume.
yeah, 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 right, right.
It is a
Eight
combination
time
of
prom bowl selection.
it's like especially because there's so many positions where there's only a few people have heard of.
Yeah.
Like Jason, well, that's a bad example because Jason Kelsey should make the Pro Bowl, but he will every
Hey, wait,
year.
hey, wait, hey, hey, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Sorry.
Way ahead of you. I think that that may have been a sign from God that we need to get on to the purpose of the podcast. We took a quick hiccup break there for a wake up of a daughter.
Yeah. It's I am on my paternity week
Mhm.
from work and
Yeah.
to help my wife ease back into her going back full-time work.
Hmm.
And it is she has chose this week to kind of be the hardest week ever to go down for naps. So
Well,
I've gotten a little taste of that this week.
at least she's getting up into that America rise and grind culture. Has your
In fact, she's
has she earned this PTO?
no, she has not. In fact, she is not even down right now. She is
Has she
I just
accumulated enough time to get
she's
PTO
like an
here?
egg timer that only you remember that game Perfection when you didn't know it was going to pop?
I do.
That she is a game of perfection where
You're
you'd
trying
never
to like
know.
make her fit in a crib before she pops, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Stop going perpendicular to it, Austin."
Yeah, I keep poking her with these yellow pieces and I don't understand why she's
Well,
crying.
let's get into what we're doing this week because this actually fits in pretty well. It's a week off from real football, so we're going to do the life skills competition week where we set up some real life bets and see if they happen. We have to recap Austin because you had a killer week last week. I reviewed the Chiefs footage on the bet called "Does Pacheco ever get up in a fun or funny way?" And I declared no. I decided on no. He got up in some interesting ways. He got up in quick ways, but none of them were fun or funny. And
Yeah.
this was a $800 swing against me for him not getting up funny because that was my lock last week. You're now beating me. The current score is 2,900 for Austin to 2,550 for Kyle. I had a really bad week last week. My lock missed, your lock hit, and there was 1,000 point swing.
Wow.
A literal $1,000 swing, just off of Pacheco not getting up funny. I can't really call that my bad beat of the week because saying a guy will be funny sounds like a George Thorogood lyric. It doesn't sound like something you should bet on.
Yeah.
But what we want to do this week, we got that $1,000. I want next season. I want us to be able to bet with the amount of money we have up to. So you could, you know what I
Oh,
mean? I think that could be fun. But
yeah, that would make things very interesting.
the
So I would have,
swings,
yeah, I would be able to bet like over $2,000.
yeah. So
Goodness.
let's get into. I'll give examples. This is life stuff. This is stuff that happens this week that we can bet on. And obviously, we both know we're going to be honest reporting whether or not it happens, right? There's
Hmm.
no real stakes here. This isn't Texas Roadhouse. So here's an example. This week, do I cut myself cooking?
Mm.
I do a lot. I'm good for twice a month, at least. I have a very sharp knife. I am not even that good with a cheese grater without cutting because
Are you
I always shove my hand into it to see if there's cheese.
Look, it's a free snack if you can find
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
Are you a good cook?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a hurried
Oh yeah. Oh
prep
yeah. I remember you
person though.
telling me like Christmas time. You made all these like
I'm getting
Christmas
really cooking and
goodies.
baking and things like. But honestly, even if I'm like making a sandwich, it's 70-30 that I might cut myself. Like I'm a real butt is knife.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
or I'm a pretty good cook except my knife. So there's butter faces. I'm a butt is knife.
Everything looked good, but his knife.
So that is actually my first bet is do I cut myself cooking? And this is going to go until next Wednesday, right before our recording. So it could even go through Wednesday
Oh,
breakfast,
okay. Okay.
all of these bets. So those are our life competition types of bets. We have a few here we can prepare out. So that'll be my first one. Do I cut myself cooking?
Okay.
Um, and even if you want to allocate your money as we go or just sort of like take notes, you can do that because you know we're more casual here on this fake week. This is like the Christmas to New Year's of football.
Yeah. And like the Pro Bowl, like nobody's really watching this
No.
week anyway.
No.
Yeah.
My next one is over under 2.5 days where caffeine ends up slowing me down,
Where you
where I
take
have
too
like
much
so
caffeine?
much and I can't do
Yeah.
anything. Do you know what I
I've been
mean?
doing a lot of that this week, as you might
I've been
imagine.
making lattes. I have an espresso machine. I've been making
Hmm.
lattes and so I'm on my second one today. And so after this is over, I'm gonna go have to breathe and look at the ceiling for a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no,
But
that makes sense. I'm right there with you. Like I feel
yeah,
like this could have been a bet for both of us this week.
you're more than happy to bet on both of us even. I think everything's flexible in this.
Okay.
All right, here's my next life bet. Over under 3 times more 49ers gear than Chiefs gear seen in public around LA.
Ooh. Over under three
You know
times
what? I'm gonna
more?
do two times.
Two times more. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of Chiefs fans.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Niners fans.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
especially in Southern California.
and then you can say you can parlay that with more Raiders gear or 49ers gear. And then I was almost at a bet where if I see a Chargers hat, it's all null and void and everyone wins. But because I don't know if they make Chargers hats, honestly. I think Brandon Staley might have all of them, and he's left the city.
Yeah.
So 2 times more 49ers gear than Chiefs gear in public. You can parlay that with more Raiders gear or 49ers gear overall seen, just from my time around. You know what I mean? Driving.
Yeah.
I look at everyone in every car I pass, going to the grocery store, all this sort of stuff. Two and a
You've
half
always been known
days.
to do that.
I am. 2.5 days where caffeine slows me down. Do I cut myself cooking? And my final one is without looking for it, do I organically see Austin commenting shit about the Chiefs and from the Korked Bats account? This dude can't
Hey,
let
how
a
do you know
meme
that's
go
me?
by. All right, come on.
There's multiple people. There's multiple people that have that password, you included.
Yeah, imagine
So how
I
do I
get
know
on
it's
there and I say, "Is Mahomes crying about the refs?" on some comment section of a meme. I see
uh
it all the time. Every time because I get my whole like for you page is essentially football
sports
stats and
pages?
fake stats and like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, little stuff. And if you follow the person, you see their comment on there, and it's always Cork Bats being like, What is Jackson gonna TikTok on the butt or whatever? I don't know. So do I just?
That
But
was
I'm not
that one
can't
got a
look for
lot of
him.
likes.
I can't go looking for him. Do I organically see a Cork Bats comment, some dumb shit about
Now,
the
is
Chiefs?
this Corked Bats and my personal account, or is this just Corked Bats?
Both,
I
because it's like gonna show up as my
was gonna
friends I
move. I was gonna
follow.
move. I was gonna move all of my
I
Patrick
know this
Mahomes
is and you
jokes
know what?
to.
I'm gonna bet right now and tell you I bet 100 on that one just to see if your restraint can prevent you. If you'd rather me win this whole seasons of betting, or if you can restrain for a week from
No,
commenting.
it's good. It look, hey, you know what you got to do. You got to play the hits. You have to when there's lightning rod players, the Tebows, right now the Mahomes, the Kelseys. When there's things you gotta tap into it, and
Sure.
that's just what I'm doing.
I
Kershaw,
thought you
I've
used to
done it.
like Taylor Swift. I don't know what
I've
happened.
I've look, you know me. I'm the biggest Dodgers fan out there, and
Hmm.
I have been known to make some Kershaw playoff jokes, even though it goes against everything that I stand
Sure.
for fan
Sure.
wise. But
So those are my
and
four.
okay, all right. So hang
One of
on.
them is to just see if you can do it.
I like their
Not even
life
on
bets.
Cork Bats posts.
They're
Not even on posts. On just like a
just
post of a
comments.
play this on a comment of something that's like NFL memes for the youth 69, and I'll see Cork Bats just with some asinine chief shit. Like, and I'm just like this shit.
You're like that is when you disavow. That's when you
Oh, it's
disavow
so
having
funny.
any
It's just
relation to cork
every
bats
time I
whatsoever.
know it's going to be in there, every single time I'm just like,
Well, you know what's funny is the guy that started cork bats with me is a massive Chiefs fan. You and then you and Jared Lanius came on board,
yeah.
and you guys are massive Chiefs fans.
Well,
Um,
back then we got the benefit of the doubt. The greatest moment in Chiefs history was when Zach Greinke won the Cy Young for a baseball team,
yeah, yeah, right, right.
at least of our
All
lives up until that point.
the Cineboys who do our movie podcast, I think all four of them are Chiefs fans. So they're actually more Chiefs fans than any other team
Right. So
associated
it
with
feels
Cork
like that
Bats.
this bet certainly won't hit.
Look, I gotta play. Look, it's not me. It's not me. I gotta play the things that will get the likes and get the get the.
Sure.
All right, my bets. Um, Saturday. Most of my bets are just for Saturday, Sunday, so just through the weekend.
Okay.
Um, since I am kind of home and kind of on dad duty, Saturday and Sunday. I mean, I would be anyway on Saturday, Sunday, but I'm gonna set the now that I've got two little girls, I'm gonna set the over under for diapers changed at 9.5. Okay, so
Just
and
on
those are
Saturday,
just
Sunday.
yeah, those are just diapers that I change. My wife is excluded from this, so if she changes one, obviously does not count. The number of diapers that
I
I
see this. I
myself
picture this
change.
sitting at 9, and then you smell it, and you took the under, and you're just staring at Meredith, and then you have to explain to her why you won't do it, and she divorces you.
Yeah, right. I'm like, babe, can you really just change this one? And she's
Kyle
like,
took the over.
she's got her hands full with stuff, and I'm just like, please, babe, you don't understand.
She's tripping up the
Um,
stairs, and you're just like, no, no, Kyle smashed the over on that one.
babe, trust me, you're gonna help me win $3,000 of fake cash. It's gonna go towards my fake charity. Um, and then we've got a lot of like our house is kind of under construction. We've talked on this podcast before about my pipe bursting, and that just kind of led like an influx of things need to change,
I think a pipe
floors,
burst is how you
ceilings.
got this second kid.
It is, folks. And our kitchen was out of commission for a while. We're starting to get it back now. And like we're gonna go grocery shopping today, because most of our food has gone bad and everything. But the number of times we eat out on Saturday and Sunday, and this includes like fast food runs, like if we run to grab breakfast or something, anything but coffee, except for coffee.
Okay.
Um, so 2.5 times is the over under there that we eat out.
Including taking out in.
Yeah, I'll include
You go
takeout.
grab a sandwich and come in, or you order something.
Yeah,
Times, yeah, okay.
I'll include that.
Okay.
Um, and then how much of the Pro Bowl do I watch on Sunday?
Okay.
This over under, I'm just gonna set at 15 minutes. Do I watch more or less than 15 minutes of the Pro Bowl? Last year I did watch a lot, but I was not
Mhm.
impressed by it, so I'm probably
Yeah, that
more
don't
inclined
impress you
to.
much.
Yeah, and I only had one kid last year. Yeah,
Right.
I would totally Shania Twain the Pro Bowl last year.
It's better
Um,
than Mark Twaining it, where you reference the players with the wrong word.
so um the yeah, over under set 15 minutes there. And then my last bet, and this actually has nothing to do with me. Does Derrick Henry score a touchdown in the Pro Bowl?
I love that you love him so much. This is a life bet.
This is a life bet for me. I hope he does. He did last year, just for the record. He had a rushing touchdown in a flag football game.
You know what? I think he's gonna throw one, so I'm okay. Let me do my bets here for you, and let's get out of here. All right? I can hear the construction waking up. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
I'm gonna
construction, man.
go. You know what we could do is not tell each other what we bet and
And
just
then
check
reveal
back
it
in
next
next
week.
week. We'll be
Okay.
honest about this, right? Because some of these
I
involve
mean,
certain behaviors.
yeah, I think
Um,
so.
it's up to you, or I can tell you what I wrote down.
No, I think and we can bet on our own, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me
Oh,
make sure I
this is
got
tough.
500 here. Five, six, seven, eight. Yep. I think I'm good.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know how to
Then
let
I
everyone know what we got. This is gonna be a fun little surprise adventure. You know what I mean? We'll report back. I got my bets written down. I'll do it this so you can see real quick.
mine's on my computer, so
I
I
believe
can't
you.
turn the camera around.
I believe you. We gotta let everyone know Nick Bosa's saying controversially, the Chiefs, they asked this someone just sent me this. They asked him what he thinks of the Chiefs offensive line. He goes, they hold a lot. And everyone's like talking like that's a gotcha. And it's like, yeah, dude, they literally have 8 more penalties than the second most duo in the league. Yeah.
I'm gonna go comment on that Instagram post right now.
Amen, brother. Nick Bosa, love you. We like all the same tweets from 2014. All right.
All right.
Well,
Well,
you could go play
uh,
January 6 degrees of separation with Nick Bosa.
do I wish you luck on your bets? I don't want to wish you luck on your
Good
bets.
luck on your life.
Yeah. Good luck on your life.
We'll check in about this. Maybe keep a running tally. I'll let you know if any of these happen so we can keep like a running tally as it goes along. But thanks for listening to our down, interesting in between life week here, everybody. Go find Cork Bats with a K.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Love you guys.